And we're live, I think. There's like one heck of a delay going on. Usually it's about 5-10 seconds, but today for some reason it's like wildly out of control. It's like 20-30 seconds behind. Or at least what I'm doing from hitting over here on the OBS and the time it shows up on Facebook Live. It's really, really odd. So, I don't know. I did bring something so I didn't cough quite as much in Yellow's face, but we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I went ahead and primed up. Well, I primed. I primed it up with. We're doing the Mortisan Boneshaper. I'm gonna screw up and call him the Bone Mason. It's gonna happen. Just be ready for it. Like right now, I'm just now showing up on what y'all are seeing, and I've been on for like a minute. So, yeah, we got a really weird delay going. Anyway, I primed him up. It was Bonereaper. It's just like what I did with the Mortec Guard with the Skeletor theme that I was looking at. So, basically what I did was I put the yellow down. I put the... Let's go to the paint and we'll sort of point out what we did. So, basically, I've got him done up. This is Ogre Yellow, and then dry brushed with the Wraithbone base back over it to bring a little bit of the white back into it. The purple is under here. Mechanicus Standard Gray is across the top on the edges, and those little wing things that are sticking out his back. The Fang is underneath here, and it is been coated with Nuln Oil to blacken it out. More of the Mechanicus Standard Gray around here and here, and again darkened out with the Nuln Oil. And I actually used a blow dryer so it would be ready, because there is nothing quite as fun as watching Nuln Oil dry. No, it sucks. Anyway, so basically what I was wanting to do was, like, I think I've done part of the purple and stuff on the stream for the other Mortec that we did, but we'll go back and show a little bit of that again, and then we'll also do up some of this blue and the gray that's on him. We'll bring that back up with some Dawnstone and basically show some of the completing moves. To start off with, though, this guy's sort of different than the other ones. He's standing on top of a giant skull, and the lore is that he's the one that actually makes all the bone constructs that the army's made out of and all that stuff, and he's using his little magic spell to break this skull apart. and into this, what I'm assuming is going to be a Mortek guard, but he seems awful tall for that, so I don't know. So he's using his magic, and it's just like eating this skull away to to make that. Hiding in here, there's like a little shield hiding back right there. I don't know what to do with it just yet, so we're going to sort of stay out of it. And then over here, one of the oddest things I've ever seen, or at least on an Age of Sigmar model, there's a skull, but he's wearing a helmet with a little nub on the top. I'm not sure if this is something that was out of Tomb Kings, because I haven't seen all those models, but it seems sort of odd. I've never seen too many of these guys with helmets. So, and there's the cat. There she is again. Anyway, that, and this is like dirt or something like that, and I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do as far as my base color yet, so I'm going to stay out of that until I sort of set that down, get an idea of what I want to do with it. But this is supposed to be standard bone, so we're going to grab a little of this bone color. We're going to grab a little bit of that. First, we're going to shake it, and not the table, not the camera. We're just going to grab a little bit of that, because while I base coated all the other stuff, like I said, the other stuff was done with Ogre and Yellow, and like right now it looks like bone, and everybody's like, ooh, okay. Well, that's the standard bone color on the right, and that's the yellow that I'm using for these guys. And so the bone color sort of changes. And I'm going to switch brush. Had to double check, make sure I was recording. How about I double check and make sure the audio is working? Yep, okay, it seems to be working. That would have sucked to just been talking to myself for 5-10 minutes. So down here around his feet, you're going to see that difference in that bone color, where I'm doing this in this sort of like what you would normally do with a bone. Then I've also done a couple of those pieces that are floating away with a little bit of the yellow. So, man, I really thought I'd turn that off. Hold on one second. I just don't want that boom bing the entire time. Just give me 1 second. Let me find out what that... Until I turn it back on. There we go. Alright. Now we're back to our regularly scheduled program. I said that would help me not cough, and the first thing I do is cough. It's awesome. So I'm just trying to get a base coat real quick, because this is not the fun part of painting these. A bit of water, thin it out. Get a nice coat in there. Boop. Up into the nostrils. Around on the bone. I'm not worried about hitting the ground because I don't know what color I'm going to paint it yet, because I haven't decided entirely on that color yet. But I'm going to paint on the inside here. Back around. He's got some little chunks that are flying off over here by his feet. Some that have been grabbed up here, broken away. I'm not too worried about this because I'm going to run some colors over the top of this. And it's all going to end up a real yellowy anyway, so I'm not too worried about it right now. That doesn't have to be real pretty. I think so. Colin asked if I've decided on my colors. Sort of depends on how this one turns out. If this, I wanted to try one of the larger characters and see how it turned out, the blue and the purple, and honestly, it depends on how this turns out and whether or not I like it or not. But this is, I'm definitely not going with green that I originally did. I might be going with this purple and blue. I don't know yet. We're working on it. That was a definite answer, right? That was a definite, I don't know, maybe. Alright. So we're going to give that bone a chance to dry. And we will go back up here to... Let's do the purple because it's the inner part of it. So, Nagaroth Night is what we used to base it. And we put the Numb oil on top of it and washed it down. We're going to go to a little Demonette Hide. Don't need that much of it because we're not using that much of it because there's not really a whole lot of purple on this guy. Purps and blues are easy and fun to work with. Yes, yes they are. So now what I'm going to do is just go along the edge of the purple armor. And this one's like, so for some reason this ridge is really hard to see on this model. So I'm trying to be real careful and just catch it. But there's not a lot to catch on this thing. So there at the bottom, I'm just going to give that a little purple shot there. Back across, there's a line right there. Of course, I still can't get them all turned off. So I'm going to run that right there. That is probably one of the worst lines I've ever done. At least on the stream. Alright. Then we'll give that outer edge, because there's not a whole lot of purple on this. His armor is a lot of the base coat. So we're going to give it just a little extra. Just so that color shows on his. At least there's not a lot on the front. Stripe of it there. Slaughter Priest. Which one's that? I'm trying to remember which one the Slaughter Priest is. I think I know which one you're talking about, but not entirely sure. Just a little run of the purple right there underneath that. There we go. All right. So, get that line down. And then even less of the, what is this? Warp Fiend Gray. I mean, we're talking very little of that. Yeah, I know, I saw. Alright, there's that one. Just a little bit of the gray in there. There we go. So that part right there is on a really weird stretch of the model. It's rounded, but not really, and it's not really flat, and yeah, it's just weird. Alright, so there's the purple. We're gonna go, we're looking for Dawnstone. There we go. I'm gonna take a little bit of that and all this, the Mechanicus Standard Gray, which is what I've been using on the edge. We're gonna run a little bit of that. we'll start down here. This little bit around what will be the jewel eventually. Somewhere on the bottom there where it's catching the light. And then we'll run a line of this. Catches these little nubs. Brightens them back up. Little bone spikes that are sort of sticking out, we'll hit those. Run that up the edge there. Maybe it catches a little bit down there. We don't want to bring it all back up, but just some highlights where maybe it's worn a little bit. Bone sort of sticks out, been banging against things, I guess. Or it's just bleached in the sun. There we go. We're going to take just work this edge back up to his hip. Come down through here a little bit more, right around that, and sort of fade it out as it goes down there. We're going to run this bottom edge where it's been clanking into things. Just a little bit right there. Little edge down along that, and of course right here at the top. Just like a little hole in that bone right there. Maybe the light's catching the top of that. Around the back of this. All right. So then we'll go. So this gray runs all around here, so we're going to run a little bit of it right around here, because that definitely gets hit where it's clanking into the rest of him. I mean, he is undead. I don't think he really ever has to sit down, but I'm assuming that there's probably some time when he takes a load off and that armor just clanks into stuff. And then, because of things, this gray runs right here. There's two little nub things that come up there. And right along the top of this. Like so. top, where his bony little chin tags the top of this armor. Run a little bit of that gray. A little bit there. Very carefully run that right there. Trying to make up for that one big fat line that I made on the back there. There's that. There's these little wing things that sort of stick back here, and I'm assuming that they're going to hit a lot, so put a little gray on that, sort of back there toward the edge. So then the little finger joints sort of stick up. Give those a little bit of gray. Give those a little bit of gray. Across the front of those. I don't know what this thing's supposed to be, but I mean it's a cool little detail until you have to paint it. Across the top. Shoot. Meant to just hit that knuckle, but I sort of goofed. It's alright. Right there at the little knuckles. Gray those out. And then right here where the bone meets back into another knuckle there. Then we'll go to the back here on this one. Give that a shot. Give that a little shot across the top there. And just run this down around like that. Give him a little line underneath there. Then we'll run a line along the back here. Right there. There's a little crack right here in the plate. What I want to do is just really lightly hit along that. Along the bottom of it where it's catching a little bit of light. There we go. And I'm just taking a look at the model almost straight down and seeing, you know, where the light would really splash off of that. Just giving a little extra shot there. So then we're going to go back to our blue down here. And we did the whole skirt down here in a blue, so I'm going to take a little bit of the fang blue and these little holes are done up. I'm going to actually give them a pretty thick line because we're going to put a couple more colors on that too. Then we'll run some around there too on the turns and folds of the fabric. Just running the brush around where the holes are and letting it sort of do its own thing. There. There's another one of these little holes right there. Another hole right there. Then we switch around to the back, which is going to be a joy to try to reach. Go around like that. Around. Around. And around. Like I said, we're just basically drawing some fat little lines around these little holes in the fabric. Now from the inside, I'm not as worried about the ones up at top because you're not ever really going to see them. But these ones down here at the bottom, I will hit around the bottom. And then we will give it a little bit around the actual edge. I don't want to take off all the black, but I want to take a good chunk of it off. Around the edge of this skirt, flap, whatever you want to call it. It's more to bring that blue back out. And then around the front, I sort of want it to bleed a little bit onto the very front. Back around. Whoop, whoop. So we've cut some more of that blue back into that dress. I don't know. And I just realized something, that it popped. No, I guess it didn't. I don't know. Okay. So there's the first color on that. We're going to go to a little Stegodon scale green. Or no, actually we're going to pick out some of these lines and stuff in the... Thin this out pretty good. Come on. Work with me here, paint. There we go. gonna run a line where that fold is. Give it a little more pressure and put a little more paint there toward the bottom. Just bringing that blue back just a little bit. A little bit right there. Just bringing that line where the light's sort of dancing off of it. Push that through there. Back out here to the point. And then right here. Just bringing that blue back into the black a little bit. I don't want it all back to blue, but I want a good showing of it. Boop. Don't want to push it too far, but now we got that blue's definitely showing a lot more into the cloth there. Now we're going to take, nope, not Sotek. We want Stick It On Scale Green. And even though it says it's green, that's still a fairly blue color. Alright, we're going to switch back because this one's got a little better point. We're going to grab some water. Thin this out just a little bit. And down along the bottom of these little spots, run a little bit of this blue. It's hiding back there in the shade too much. We don't want to run too much of that back there. Just a little bit right there. A little bit right there. And then we're going to go around to the brighter points of the edge. Catch those. We'll even give it a little bit up into this. brightest point. It just brightens up our blue just a little bit more. Stands out. So we're going to switch over down here on the skull. We're going to take a little bit of Reikland Flesh Shade and run that down along the bottom, or down around that standard skull. That's going to give it that sort of brownish red. I don't really want this much on it, but what we're going to do is we're going to take all that and pull it down. There we go. Smooth it out up there along his foot. Make sure we don't get that yellow though. Get these little pieces of bone that sort of rising up there. Now underneath here we'll probably go a little darker. Especially back there on the back edge. We'll use it sort of as an edge highlight back there in the back. Or an dark edge. I don't know what to call it. There we go. So now it's giving it that this bone and this bone are definitely going to be, you know, two different colors. And because I've gone with a yellow on to shade all these in, what I'm going to do is I'm going the little magical energy that's reshaping this guy. I'm going to make it into a yellow. So in my head, what's going on is he's taking standard bone and he's using his little magic to break it up. Somewhere in that process, it is sort of discoloring it to that yellow. Maybe it's because the magic's yellow. I don't know, but it's gonna be now. So this is Cazadora yellow. What I really want to do is I just want to run this out like so. I don't want it that strong out there. Put it along here in the middle. I want it to be a orangish yellow sort of color. Gotta make sure I don't leave anything white because that would really stand out. I don't want it to pool too much down here at the bottom either. Just a little bit more. Push down into these little fragments. Down here I'm trying to be a little more careful to stay off the bone. like, well, you're leaving little spots. Yeah, there's a reason for that. Hold on. Alright. So that sort of makes it like a orange. I want a little pooling. I don't want that much. No. So I almost threw the brush at the screen. So I'm going to take a little bit of this yellow. This is Lamenter's yellow. I don't want it running off too fast, but I don't want it just straight up messing up. And I'm going to push that into that orange. Coming from up here, push it down into that Cazador yellow. Sort of blend the two a little bit. It's just a brighter yellow. So down here, we're going to put a little more of that yellow in so it blends into all that. And then little spots that I left. There we go. A little bit of that run down in between the little bone bits. We'll even push that yellow down a little bit more into this. There we go. So now that's... Man, that yellow does not show up on the camera real well. Probably what we'll do is we'll probably take a like white scar, something like that, and go back here and dry brush that a little bit to pick out some of the details and make it look a little more ghostly, I guess. In the meantime, what I'm going to do, since this is like a... So the plan is now to take... Once this dries down here, we'll take some little white lines. And where it's breaking the skull apart, we'll run some white lines down into that, and then we'll run that yellow down into there to make it look like it's seeping into this. And these little cracks are starting to show yellow. And up here, what we'll do, where he's back to putting this together, we're going to take our pointy brush. That's a technical term, folks. Up into like where the arm is, we're gonna push that yellow just a little bit more. The hand, we're gonna run that between the joints along this section of his body where it's meeting. And just where this skeleton's sort of being lifted up by him, we're on a little bit of that yellow. It's not sort of giving a little bit of a glow to him. What the heck is that? Something flying around on my face. Alright. So, yeah, just giving that skeleton that he's working on a little bit of a yellow glow. So then, for the cartouche on his chest, we're going to go to Woot Green. Because you can't have death and all that fun stuff without some green glowy stuff, right? Just won't work. So put a little of that on there. And because of the way this is, we're going to go to one of our really small brushes right after we take a sip of the tea. Sorry. We're going to take this moot green, put it on one of our very, very small brushes. Run it right here in this little gap. I'm not too worried about this because I'm going to go back over this with some gold here in a minute. Mainly I just want it down in those recessed areas. Then we're going to take, while that's drying, because we need that to dry up, take a little Evil Sun Scarlet. Give it just a little bit of water. And our jewels. Start filling those in red. Just take your time. there on that. Right around the top. Like so. Go. So, we get the start of the 3 gems right there. They are bright, bright red. Whoa! Then we're going to take a little bit of Wild Rider Red, which is a beginning of like a orange. I wouldn't say true orange, but it's definitely a reddish orange. And then these top facets. Ugh. So the model's a little odd. One side of the stone is very, very sharp. You can definitely see the facets. The other side is nice and round. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just giving the top of that stone just a little bit of color. A little bit, and then Inferno orange, which is just straight up orange. Some bug flying around in here. It's starting to drive me nuts. There. Right there at the very tip of the stone, maybe like 1 or 2 lines where the light might hit it. along the top. Alright, well, I'm going to keep working on him. That's about all we're going to do today on the stream. I'm going to keep working on him, do some more touch-ups. There's a couple little spots here that I didn't realize where that yellow was. I'm not a big fan of that yellow. But I don't think it would have done any better in green. The yellow sort of turned out a jaundice color. I don't know, maybe with a little dry brush or something it'll pop back out. We'll take a little bit of gold, put it over where that moot green's at, and there'll be a little bit of gold in the center of his chest. We'll do up his eyes in a red, like we did with the Mortec. Once again, I'll get him all finished up, and I will post up pictures on Instagram, and I'll also attach it on Facebook in the middle of. I'll post it at the end of this. So, was it tomorrow? Tomorrow we are doing a special episode. Special. Not Blossom special, but special. Just a sort of one-off, sort of fun paint job. See how it turns out. Till then, was it Thursday? It's Thursday night. I know that there's a few of us meeting up at Gigabytes tonight to play some Age of Sigmar. So if you're in the area, interested to find out what's going on with it, come by and check it out. It's fun. They're also doing the they're doing the Crisis Protocol demos. Come out and check out how to play that game. It's the Marvel game with Spider-Man, Captain America, Iron Man, Red Skull, Doc Ock, Ultron, all the big fun characters, and you can put them on teams and battle back and forth. There's some scenarios that you run. It's a fun time. So if you're interested, come out, learn how to play it. I think it starts tonight at 6. So till then, have fun the rest of the day at work, and come out tonight, play some games, or go paint something.